Hello guys, I just saw Mortal Kombat movie. Unfortunately I did. And I have to review the movie now. I just want to let you know guys that the first part of this review, which will last probably about 3 minutes, is going to be spoiler free. And you can watch it. I was just talking about the movie in general, where I liked it, where I disliked it. And then I'm going to get into spoilers, and you'll get warned once the time comes. Now let's start with the positives, and this is the spoiler-free part of the video. The positives: the gore was awesome, there were fatalities, I loved how they made certain characters look, the visuals in general, very good, especially for the budget the movie had. I think they did the best they could for the budget, and it was very good looking. Definitely a step into the right direction, if I have to compare it to Mortal Kombat Annihilation. If you haven't seen that, please, please do so. It is a movie so bad that it's actually good. And what else did I like in the movie? Yeah, in the beginning, before I watched the movie, I feared that the director will go into a specific direction, but he didn't. And I was pleased with that, which is the direction I'm going to review into the spoiler-free part of the video. Another thing that I liked is Sub-Zero. Sub-Zero was extremely good. Shang Tsung also was very good. And another thing that I dislike actually in the movie was that some characters didn't get the attention that I thought they need to get. I won't get into details who are the characters, but in general, some characters were just in the movie so that they can get in the movie. And I hate when they do that. At some point, I know that they have to please the fans. They say, okay, this is a movie based on a video game, and this video game has huge fan base. So we need to make sure that we please the fans. But at the same time, if you do just a good movie, a movie that will be liked by people who don't know anything about Mortal Kombat, then you are going to attract new fans to the franchise, right? So you have to get somewhere in the middle. Unfortunately, this movie was like 85% pleasing the fans, 15% being a good movie. And I just dislike this. I'm sorry. To be honest with you, when it comes to me being a fan of MK, even though I have Mortal Kombat mobile channel, as you can tell by the background, I do have Mortal Kombat mobile videos. And the point is, if I have to rate myself 1 to 10 being a Mortal Kombat fan, I would probably put myself as 7. I'm not really the biggest fan, but I really wanted to see a good Mortal Kombat movie, and unfortunately I didn't. I just didn't. The movie was so busy trying to please the fans, to do gore and fights and stuff, that it just forgot that it has to be a good movie. The plot was so full of holes. The plot at some points didn't make any sense. You're asking, why is this character there? And they don't know. Nobody knows. But somehow, at the same time, they can call a character with his name or her name without his or her name being ever mentioned in the movie whatsoever. So how on earth he knows her name? What's happening here? Anyways, this is going to be my spoiler-free part of the video. Once again, if you are a true fan of the series and you want just to see your character in the movie, you want to see some fights, fatalities, then this is the movie for you. But if you're expecting a movie with really good plot, a movie that goes deep into characters, that invests into the characters, this is not your movie. And now I will be talking spoilers. First, I will start with Mileena. Mileena is my favorite character in Mortal Kombat, and ever since I found out that she was going to be in a movie, I was pretty excited, I'm not going to lie. I said, okay, Mileena is in the movie, that's pretty cool. So, what happened? Mileena was badass, and this can be applied to any single of the villains in the movie. They look great, they fought pretty well, but apart from Shang Tsung and partially Kabao, you never knew what their motivation is. For example, Mileena, who is she? The movie never gives you that answer, so if you don't know Mortal Kombat, then you don't know who this girl is. Why is she following Shang Tsung orders? Why is she reporting to Shang Tsung? Why is she and not somebody else? You never get to know. Why? Why is she called Mileena? And this is what I'm telling you, that the movie goes crazy at some point. Mileena had 2 lines in the movie. Literally, like any single actor. You don't actually have to be an actor to play this part. she has two lines. The first line is like a filler, not important, just getting next to Shansung and telling him, okay, this guy died, this guy is still alive, what do we do? And he says, we do this. And the second line was she stabs Sonya and she, licks her thigh and she says, oh, you're not chosen one because Sonya doesn't have the dragon mark yet. Later in the movie, she's going to kill Kano to get it. But anyways, at this point, she doesn't. And then Melina just stabs her and for some reason, she didn't finish her. She just leaves. Then she fights Ko Yang and she dies. But before she fights Ko Yang, he chooses to fight her. And he says, I'm going to fight Melina. But wait a second, how do you know that she's called Melina? Her name was never mentioned in the movie. Or at least I don't remember her being mentioned in the movie. Definitely not to Ko Yang. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but I never heard anybody mentioning her by name. Nobody. Or at least not to Ko Yang. How on earth he knows her name, right? And another thing that actually, this is all I can say about Melina. She looked good, but there was nothing enticing about her character. So imagine me explaining the movie to a guy who doesn't know anything about Mortal Kombat. You know what? There's a girl with size and she's fighting for Shansung. Nobody knows why. She's just there. Every single boss has some henchmen, She's nothing special, just a girl with size. And she fights and she dies. Basically, it's the same thing. Oh my god, why they did this to Goro? Goro is one of the biggest, if not the biggest villain of I have to stop saying MK Mobile. Of MK. He's one of the biggest bosses. The strongest bosses. And he gets killed by Ko Yang. Remember this name, Ko Yang. In his first fight in the movie, he literally appears for 10 minutes and he dies. This is how bad he is in this movie. Yes, he looks good. Yes, he fights good. Yes, he dies good. But he's not the Goro we expect to see. He's just a random CG monster that just appears in the movie for 5 minutes and he dies. Is this the big Mortal Kombat character? No, he's not. And let's talk about Ko Yang. I wanted Ko Yang to die so bad. Probably some of you who haven't seen the movie, you are thinking that Ko Yang should be somebody very important, right? Probably he's Johnny Cage, but he hasn't realized it yet, right? No. Ko Yang is a descendant of Hanzo Hasashi. And that's it. He is a descendant of Hanzo Hasashi. In the beginning of the movie, when Sub-Zero kills Scorpion, his wife and kid, they managed to save his little daughter in some kind of a secret compartment in the floor. And while Sub-Zero is taking his time killing his wife and they're killing everybody else, probably the child didn't make a sound. She was so quiet. She was so quiet. Probably she was standing like this, knowing what's going on, so she has to keep quiet. Anyways, then Raiden comes and saves the child after Sub-Zero is gone. And Ko Yang is a descendant of this child. And that's it. You think he's important? He isn't. And for some reason, he is the core of this movie. And this is bad. Why Ko Yang? Why Ko Yang? Ko Yang is the bigger thing in this movie compared to Liu Kang. Yeah, you heard me. Ko Yang is the bigger badass than Liu Kang. Liu Kang is weak. Like, honestly, he is weak. And actually, the only character which I liked from the good guys, I really liked, was Kung Lao. Kung Lao was really awesome, and he died. And I get to see Ko Yang fighting Sub-Zero, and then Hanzo Hasashi, actually Scorpion, killed Sub-Zero in the end. Sub-Zero was a real badass, to be honest with you, but again, we didn't get to know anything about him special. And apart from the opening scene where he kills Scorpion, why he kills Scorpion? He just does. Okay, he just does for his own amusement, and then he follows the orders of Shansung. Why he does that? Nobody knows. And then they team up on him and they kill him, and before he dies, he just removes his mask and he says, "For the Link Way." It was pretty awesome. There was certain aspects of this movie which I really liked. I wouldn't say it's a trash movie. It is a kind of okay movie, but it could have been so much better. And now we're talking about direction, which I'm thankful the director didn't took. And this is one about I'm really grateful that they didn't go direct to the tournament. This is going to be really bad. So, Mortal Kombat is very, very huge thing. We have so many stories. We have so many characters that you don't have to just take everything and put it directly into battle. apart from that, you can make a lot of movies for Scorpion and Sub-Zero rivalry, for example, for Sonya and Kano rivalry, so on and so forth. You can do at least 5 movies before you get to the tournament, and while doing that, you'll be building up the hype, and the movies are going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. But in order to achieve that, you need to do good movies. You shouldn't have to create just movies that will appeal the fans and nothing else. And I really hope that this movie is going to have installment, and the movie ends like Cole Young's search for Johnny Cage. I want Cole Young to die in the next installment, probably in a very painful fatality. And we want to have Johnny Cage, but they can do the entire movie about Johnny Cage. Should be pretty cool. Of course, Sonya should be in the movie, Jax can be in the movie, some kind of a bad guys can be in the movie, let's say from Outworld, but the movie can be centered about Johnny Cage, so you can start caring about the character on a level which is higher than just the character being in a game, right? And this is what this movie lacks. This is why I don't like this movie. And another thing that I didn't like about it is that I never felt the stakes. Like, I never felt. Is it something bad is going to happen if they win? They say yes, but I didn't feel it. I'm sorry, I just didn't. There was a scene when Shang Tsung arrives with presumably Melina. Actually, no, she's Melina, but nobody tells you. She's just his henchman. And she arrives next to him with Cabal, and they talk with Raiden, and suddenly Shang Tsung says, "Kill him!" And then Raiden creates a shield of lightning, something like a field force, and then Shang Tsung says, we have to go. And they go back to Alta. It was so dumb. It was so bad. And then Cabal negotiates with Kano, and Kano betrays them and destroys the shield, and then the fight happens. And, yeah. Very disappointed. Now I wanted Cole Young to die, and I was very disappointed he didn't die. I hate what they did with Goro. I think that it was a disgrace to the character himself. You just give him 5 minutes where he fights and dies to a descendant of Hanzo Hasashi, the great Goro, the Prince Goro. He was never introduced, by the way. It's just like, oh, Prince Goro, and at some point Goro is just there and he fights. This is how they introduce him. Nothing special. You don't even know who Goro is. You don't even know what is his motivation. Why such a big monster is following Shang Tsung? Is he stronger than Shang Tsung? What is he? Nobody knows. And yeah, problems with this movie once again. If you're not a fan, if you don't know anything about Mortal Kombat, you have no idea what's going on whatsoever. Anyway, so to summarize, I'll give this movie probably 4 out of 10. I'm sorry. I wanted to see a good movie. I didn't want to see something there just to please the fans. But if you like the movie, that's fine. This is my perspective and my personal opinion. So once again, the good thing, visuals are okay. There's gore, there's blood, there's fatalities. The bad guys, they are badasses, but that's it. There is nothing special about them. You don't know their motivation. You don't know why they're there. You don't know why they fight this way. You don't know why they're following Shang Tsung. You don't know their story. You don't know anything about them. They're just there to die, to fight and die, and to look bad. With only exception probably of Cabal, and a slight exception for Sub-Zero, because still I didn't understand why Sub-Zero is following orders from Shang Tsung. Why? And why I didn't understand why he killed Hanzo Hasashi. There is not a single scene where he explains something about himself. Like, you have a scene 5 minutes about Sub-Zero. He's talking to somebody. It's like a real discussion. No, he just appears, destroys everything, and next scene he's next to Shang Tsung. And when he says to Shang Tsung, "Oh, Hanzo Hasashi is dead," and then they say, "No, you left girl." Sub-Zero's like, "Oh, did I?" And basically this is it. Anyways, guys, so 4 out of 10. I really hope you will find this video good. Sorry, this film good. I didn't, unfortunately, but anyways, this is going to be all for me for today. Peace.
Perfect. Perfect.